The Miraculous Ritual Revealed. 7 Sacred Movements to Awaken Your Soul and Manifest Divine Healing. In the heart of a quaint English village, cloaked in morning mist, the air crackled with a vibrant energy. The villagers whispered excitedly about the upcoming pilgrimage to the sanctuary of St. Agnes, renowned for miracles that blossomed from her sacred touch. But beneath the surface of their fervent faith, a dark shadow lurked in Sarah's home, a diagnosis that threatened to shatter her world and the tender heart of her family. One fateful evening, the flickering candlelight danced across Sarah's tear-streaked face as she gathered her children around the dinner table. Each prayer they whispered hung like fragile dew in the air, heavy with desperation. "Please, Lord, bring healing to Tom." Her voice trembled, laced with the weight of despair. Suddenly, a stillness enveloped them. The faintest breeze ruffled the leaves outside, and through the silence, a voice echoed in Sarah's mind, clear and unmistakable. "Be the vessel of healing through 7 sacred movements." A chill raced down her spine. Could it be? Was she truly being called to something extraordinary? The words ignited a spark in her heart, a flicker of hope, however small, amidst a relentless storm. She decided to embrace this calling, to embark on a journey that would not only seek healing for Tom, but also awaken her faith and illuminate her community. With each sacred movement, profound changes unfolded around her. One day, as Sarah knelt in the village square, she placed her hands on the earth, invoking the first movement. A brilliant light suddenly radiated from her fingertips, and the children nearby gasped in wonder, eyes wide with awe. "I saw St. Agnes," one exclaimed, leaving whispers of visions swirling amongst them. Nature seemed to respond, too. Flowers bloomed vibrantly in their wake, colors more vivid than ever before. Words spread like wildfire, expectation crackled in the very air they breathed. Villagers ventured out, their hearts knit together in a tapestry of prayer and faith. Each movement drew them closer, awakening a spirit long dormant. As Sarah led them in unison, their voices lifted in harmonious supplication, trembling with fervor. There was palpable magic in their gathering, an atmosphere thick with anticipation, as glimpses of miracles teased their souls. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue with each sacred movement. However, doubts seeped into the corners of Sarah's mind. Were these manifestations true gifts from above, or illusions born from desperation? As the long-awaited pilgrimage drew near, anxiety filled her heart. Her faith was tested like never before. The entire village buzzed with this sacred energy, but could they truly expect a miracle? Was healing to be found in their fervent prayers, or was it just wishful thinking? As they stepped out into the foggy morning, Sarah clutched the small vial of holy water close to her heart, its cool glass a talisman against despair. Each drop was a whisper of hope. The fog rolled around them, thick and mysterious, hinting at both promise and uncertainty on their journey to the sanctuary. Unbeknownst to them, the path ahead would weave through trials that would challenge their souls, exposing the very essence of their faith. Would the sacred movements unlock the healing they so yearned for, or lead them down a road of profound discovery, leaving them questioning the very nature of God's plans? The air crackled with expectation, for the journey ahead would reveal the unimaginable. As Sarah and the villagers pushed forward, the mist began to part, revealing the cobblestone path winding toward the sanctuary. Each step echoed with the prayers of those gathered, their hearts synchronized in a beautiful rhythm of hope. Old Mrs. Henderson, her face lined with years of wisdom, walked alongside Sarah, clutching a small rosary tightly. "This is the moment we've been waiting for," she whispered, her voice shaky but filled with conviction. Every villager seemed to carry a piece of their own burden, yet together they formed a shield of unity. The air was heavy with expectation, creating an almost tangible aura around them, lifting spirits as they neared their destination. With each movement, Sarah felt the weight of her doubts slip away, replaced by a burgeoning flame of belief. What began as a flicker became a blazing certainty. Something miraculous awaited them as they rounded a bend. The grand facade of the sanctuary came into view, majestic against the backdrop of a deepening blue sky. The villagers gasped collectively, a sound lush with awe and reverence. It felt more than just stone and mortar. This was a hallowed place where countless prayers had risen like incense. Deep within, it held echoes of healing, of dreams rekindled, and of lives transformed. Sarah stopped for a moment, allowing the sight to wash over her. She could sense the presence of the divine guiding them, filling her with indescribable peace. "Can you feel it?" she asked the villagers, her voice steady now, rising above the gentle hum of disbelief. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. They shared the same awareness. The presence was palpable, wrapping them like a comforting embrace. Stepping into the sanctuary, they were met by soft candlelight, flickering like flames of faith throughout the cool stone interior. The air, infused with the scent of burning incense, felt rich with promise. Sarah approached the altar, the small vial of holy water still in her hand. She felt the warmth radiating from her heart, a warmth that urged her to pour out everything she had held inside. "Let this be a vessel for healing," she prayed aloud. Her words flowed as if written not by her, but drawn from the depths of her spirit. The villagers gathered around, the unity palpable through their clasped hands and bowed heads. It was a moment suspended in time, when heaven met earth. They felt each other's breaths, prayers mingling, intertwining, as they closed their eyes and entered a sacred space that transcended words. Suddenly, as if answering their collective call, a surge of energy erupted in the room. A vibrant light illuminated the altar, casting soft shadows on the walls like echoes of innumerable souls seeking grace. Gasps filled the air as the villagers turned their faces toward the illumination, wonder painted in their eyes. Sarah opened hers, witnessing an ethereal figure emerging from the light, a woman robed in flowing garments, exuding warmth and compassion. "Faith is the conduit of healing," she spoke, each word resonating in their hearts. Yet, even amidst this divine spectacle, doubts flickered. Would their faith be enough? Would the healing they sought manifest truly? Would St. Agnes grant their deepest desires? The sanctity of the moment weighed heavy, leaving an indelible question lingering in the as they absorbed the moment. Sarah's heart raced with anticipation. This was a new beginning, a promise of something greater than they had ever imagined. As the villagers held their gaze on the heavenly figure, they could feel boundaries blurring, their souls intertwining in divine purpose. "Trust," the serene voice echoed softly, resonating deep within them. "What you seek lies not just in the healing of a body, but in the healing of belief." But Sarah felt another pull and urgency to delve deeper, to uncover the full meaning behind this divine visitation. What lay ahead on this rarefied journey? What hidden truths would they discover about faith and healing? The air vibrated with anticipation as they stood at the precipice of revelation. There was no turning back now. What awaited them next would challenge everything they knew. The room quivered with a hushed reverence. The villagers stood, transfixed, gazing at the ethereal figure that spoke with the soothing authority of a mother and the wisdom of ages. They felt a pulse in the air, not just the echo of their prayers, but a rhythm like the heartbeat of the earth itself synchronizing their spirits. "Remember," the figure urged, her voice a gentle breeze through troubled waters, "faith is not merely a belief. It is an action, a choice to step forward in trust." The light surrounding her seemed to shimmer in agreement, bringing an almost tangible warmth that spread through the assembly. Sarah glanced around. Tears glistened in the eyes of the villagers, each heart quietly responding to the call of the divine. It wasn't about their individual journeys anymore. Their struggles, fears, hopes, and dreams were all woven together, creating a tapestry that shimmered in the presence of grace. Here, they found solidarity in their shared longing for healing, not only physically but spiritually and emotionally as well. "Let us embrace this sacred moment," Sarah urged, sensing the gathering energy. "Let us align our prayers, our hearts, and our intentions." She felt the weight of the vial of holy water in her hand. It was more than just a symbol, it was a vessel of hope. With a deep inhale, she stepped forward, pouring the water onto the altar in slow, deliberate arcs, as if sending a message to the heavens. The sound of dripping water filled the space, becoming a rhythmic prayer itself. Together, let us create a circle of light. She beckoned the villagers, her voice clear and firm. They held hands, forming a sacred circle, a living embodiment of unity. As they stood together, Sarah looked up to see the ethereal figure smile gently, eyes glinting with an understanding only the divine could possess. "Excellent," she said softly. "Your collective faith is a powerful force. Let it flow." In response, they began to chant softly, letting the melody rise in a wave of sound that seemed to lift the very stones beneath their feet. With every note, they poured their desires into the air, each word a binding of hope, each harmony a step closer to the miraculous. They called upon memories of past grievances, long-worn scars, and whispered prayers for healing both for themselves and for one another. The sanctuary felt alive, vibrating with energy unlike anything they had encountered before. Candles flared in unison, casting shadows that danced around the room as if each flicker had a story to tell. "Keep your hearts open," the ethereal figure encouraged. "Let go of the weight that holds you back. Every burden is a seed for healing." Sarah, enraptured, felt her spirit lift. Images of the villagers' struggles flashed before her: John's weary smile, Mary's tear-streaked face, and little Tom, so full of dreams yet held back by illness. They all came together in her mind, and she felt the energies intertwining, their hopes converging like beams of light. Suddenly, they heard a rustling behind them. The villagers turned to see a soft glow emanating from the altar, spiraling upwards, swirling with the sound of their chants like a whirlpool of aspiration. It drew nearer, filling every corner of the sanctuary, wrapping them in warmth as if angels had enveloped them in joyous embrace. "Can you feel the love?" the figure whispered, her voice simply present, laced with compassion. "It's the love you call forth. It's the love you share. Know this. The healing you desire is more than a mere touch. It is a rebirth, a moment of awakening." Questions still lingered like mist in the air. Would they find the courage to dive deeper? Would their faith hold steadfast as they uncovered the layers of healing? As the energy swirled, Sarah knew they were on the threshold of something profound. Would the power of their unified hearts be enough to fulfill the promises made? In that moment, uncertainty hung in the balance, shimmering like the light before them, beckoning them to explore further what revelations lay within their reach and what sacrifices might be required. For true healing, they were standing on the brink of the miraculous. The time for stepping forward had arrived. The air around them thickened, charged with anticipation, as the villagers stood firm in their circle. Every face was illuminated not just by the flickering candlelight, but by a shared inner glow, a spark of divine promise igniting their spirits. This moment was unlike any other. It was sacred and transformative. Sarah felt a pull from the ethereal figure at the altar, as if the very essence of her being was intertwined with the divine. She closed her eyes briefly, grounding herself in the sound of their collective chanting, each note lifting them higher. "We are not alone," she whispered softly, repeating the truth that coursed through her like a vibrant current. With a gentle nod from the figure, the villagers began to sway subtly, a dance of faith woven through their shared breath. It was a gentle rhythm, almost instinctual, a dance not just of their bodies but of their souls yearning for release. The vibrations of their voices seemed to awaken something deep within the earth and within themselves. "Let the light flow through you," the figure encouraged, her arms raised as if urging the light to spill forth from each heart. "Channel your hopes, your dreams, and your tales of suffering. Let it all merge into one song of healing." The villagers poured their heartache and desires into the symphony, uniting as one. Each whisper of a past burden transformed into a note. Each lament morphed into a lively rhythm. Their sighs became crescendos, and before they knew it, the sanctuary pulsed as if it were alive, resonating with their cries for restoration. From among the gathered, a voice rose with unexpected clarity. It was Mary, her tone trembling yet powerful. "Lord, we seek wholeness. We ask not just for ourselves, but for each other. Heal us, and let your spirit flow." Each person felt the weight of her words settle deep within them, a charge of hope electrifying the atmosphere. With those words, The glow from the altar brightened, enveloping the villagers like a radiant cloak. Sarah felt its warmth wash over her, inviting her to delve deeper. She opened her eyes, taking in the scene, and a vision unfurled in her mind: the villagers, healed and whole, their laughter echoing through open fields filled with flowers. Joy surged within her heart as the image took root. "Feel that vision," the figure urged, her voice steady yet soft. "Embrace it and believe it. Your thoughts shape reality. Allow the divine essence to guide your path." A shiver ran through Sarah as she realized this was more than just a moment of collective prayer. It was an invitation to co-create with the divine. She turned to her neighbors, their hands clasped tightly, and felt the warmth of their trust, the vibration of their faith. They were all participants in this sacred ritual, a choir in their darkest hours ready to sing forth light. The figure gestured for them to kneel, urging them to present their genuine selves before the altar. As they knelt, Sarah felt the cool stone beneath her knees. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes again, focused their intentions on the altar's illuminating energy. "Speak your burdens aloud," the figure commanded. There was a moment's hesitation, and then voices began to rise, gently at first, but gaining strength: confessions of fear, of despair, of longing for connection and healing. The sound intertwined like vines, suffusing the air with a fragrance of surrender. As they prayed, a new dimension began to unfold. The worship space shimmered, an otherworldly presence invading their sanctuary. Each voice painted a cosmos of healing possibilities, visions of love weaving through the fabric of their souls. What if, Sarah pondered, feeling the connections deepen, what if this is not simply about healing the body, but transforming our entire lives? In this moment, a realization struck her simultaneously with the light. Healing wasn't just about taking away pain. It was about inviting divine purpose into every aspect of their lives. Their faith, now an active current, began to pulse strength through them. But was their faith robust enough to sustain this awakening? As hope mingled with doubt, they collectively held their breath, waiting to see what would come next. How far would they be willing to go? What other depths of faith lay unexplored ahead, ready to be unearthed? A hush fell over the gathering, a sacred pause pregnant with possibility. Each villager's breath synchronized, a rhythm of unified anticipation. The air shimmered, thick with the essence of vulnerability and desire. As if sensing their collective yearning, the ethereal figure at the altar raised her hands, palms outstretched, inviting the very presence of the divine to envelop them further. "Feel it," she whispered, her voice a soft caress. "The wind of change dances among us." This is the moment when the impossible can become possible. A ripple of energy coursed through Sarah, bringing with it a warmth that flowed down her arms, igniting her fingertips. She could see it now: the light caressing the villagers, illuminating their hopes and fears in vibrant hues. Mirroring their palpable devotion, tendrils of divine energy reached across the circle, wrapping them in a shared experience of faith and trust. They were not simply asking to be healed. They were embracing a new way of being. Mary's voice wavered in a refrain of prayer. She spoke of burdens lifted, chains broken. "May our wounds become gateways. Let our suffering turn into strength." The villagers murmured in agreement, a chorus of faith flowing like a river, its water both gentle and fierce. Each heart began to beat in time to that evolving harmony. The figure at the altar beckoned them closer. "What if your pain is not just yours to carry, but a seed of transformation for us all?" With that simple pronouncement, Sarah felt the truth resonate deep within her core. They were a part of something much larger, a quilt of souls woven together through shared experiences, each frayed edge indicative of a journey deeply traveled. As she knelt, Sarah opened her heart. She pictured the fresh blooms in her earlier vision, now layered with the colors of their collective prayers. Individual stories blossomed like wildflowers in an untamed garden. Some were vibrant reds of courage, while others were soft blues of vulnerability. Each told of a struggle secretly played out behind smiles. This was the heartbeat of the village, disguising itself as weariness. Yet here, they turned their weariness into colorful expressions of hope. Suddenly, the flickering candlelight morphed into sparkling flares, each flare a spark of revelation. The people's eyes widened as they grasped the magnitude of their unified faith. We can heal together, Sarah exclaimed, her voice ringing out over the whispering winds. Yes, together, others echoed, encouragement cascading like waves. It was a clarion call for transformation, a call to action that wasn't merely about seeking healing, but about embracing the vibrancy of life that already pulsed among them. With each whispered prayer, the ground beneath began to hum. The earth responded, vibrating to their collective spirit. We declare our healing, they proclaimed, voices swelling in crescendo. Sarah opened her eyes to the figure before them, her radiant smile illuminating the altar. Remember this moment. Healing thrives in vulnerability, and you, my dear ones, have surrendered beautifully. Yet, mingling with the joy, an undercurrent of trepidation built within Sarah. What now? Was this all there was? What challenges would they face as they dared to claim their healing journey? As the villagers' voices cascaded together, weaving a tapestry of affirmation, a still small voice whispered in Sarah's heart, prepare for what comes next. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the sanctuary, making the candles flicker wildly. An electric energy surged around them, hinting at a new beginning, as though the divine was preparing to reveal yet another layer of change. What awaited them just over the horizon? Would they be ready to embrace the deeper truths yet to be unveiled? And just as a new chapter beckoned, the figure's voice beckoned them once more. Are you bold enough to dive deeper into the unknown? As the figure's question hung in the air like an unbroken promise, the villagers held their collective breath. They felt the invitation, a call to venture beyond the familiar shores of their reality into the vast waters of the unknown. Whispers of doubt fluttered like moths around a flame, but above that fluttering murmured the growing strength of their faith. Are we ready? Sarah thought, her heart thundering in her chest. She sensed the divine energy swirling amongst them, urging them on. It was a beckoning so profound, instincts tinged with both excitement and fear mingled in her spirit. But with each glance at the figures around her, faces glowing with anticipation, eyes bright with hope, she felt their resolve solidifying, a tide that could not be turned. The figure at the altar continued, her voice weaving through them, binding their spirits. Every moment of weakness, every tear shed, has paved the way for this awakening. Your pain isn't a burden. It is your charge. It is time to rise, to become more than you have ever been. A ripple of affirmation washed over them, like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness. Yes, we can do this, came a voice from the crowd, a spark igniting a shared understanding amongst the villagers. Together we are powerful. Another voice chimed in. Together we shall rise. With newfound energy, the villagers stepped forward, away from their fears. The figure smiled down on them, her eyes reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. Let us embark on this sacred journey together. Each step will guide you deeper into the heart of transformation. Seek your truth, embrace it, and let it manifest in your lives, in ways you can scarcely envision. A soft rustle filled the space around them. The air thickened, shimmering with each heartbeat. The figure raised a hand, and the candles flared brighter, casting a luminescent glow across the circle, illuminating the eager faces. Let this be your first sacred movement, she declared. Name one burden, one fear, that you wish to lay down. In an almost synchronized manner, villagers began to speak. Each word lifted from their lips seemed to dissolve into the air, becoming an offering. I release my doubts, cried a man with tears in his eyes. I let go of my guilt. A young woman followed. I abandoned my loneliness, came another voice, resonating deep. With every confession, a weight was lifted. The atmosphere vibrated with sincerity, and deep within their souls, something treasured began to stir hope, like a hibernating seed, waking for spring. Good. The figure's approval was palpable. Now, picture the yes inside you, the yes to joy, to abundance, to connection. Take a moment. Let it bloom in your heart. In that sacred space, breaths became slow and deliberate, as if each intake filled them with divine light. Sarah closed her eyes and envisioned the light surrounding her, wrapping her in warmth, illuminated by the prayers and voices of her neighbors. And when you feel that yes, the figure urged, trust in its power. Use it to carry you through the next door you will walk through. The villagers shared knowing looks, encouraged by the shimmering veil of hope that now enveloped them. They felt a collective promise echoing in their hearts, a promise of alignment with divine purpose. But as the moment bloomed, the winds howled outside, a reminder of the changes yet to come. A distant rumble sounded, and a deep-seated tremor ran through the earth, shaking their trust. Would this newfound awakening withstand the test? Would the yes they felt within sustain them as they pressed into the inexplicable? And just then, in the heart of that electric energy, the figure raised her gaze to the heavens. Now, my beloveds, we must ask, what darkness are you willing to face to claim this light? The uncertainty lingered, challenging them to think and ponder deeply. The journey into the unknown had just begun. What shadows awaited them as they dared to walk the sacred path? A heavy silence settled in the air, intertwining with the flickering candlelight. Each villager felt the weight of the figure's questions settle deep in their hearts, the echo of her words racing through their minds. What darkness? What fear? A chill ran through Sarah, and she glanced at her fellow villagers, their faces illuminated by the warm glow. She saw courage flickering in their eyes, nudging her to push beyond her own hesitation. She thought of her own shadows, lurking at the edges of her thoughts, past failures, lost opportunities, and doubts that tangled around her like thorny vines. As she prepared to speak, a gust of wind rushed past them, causing the candles to sway, casting dancing shadows across the altar. It was almost as if nature itself was pressing them onward. The figure smiled, her presence steady and reassuring. Release the fear that binds you, let it flow out, and be transformed into something wondrous. The candlelight flickered, and Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the group coalesce around her. I am here to let go of my fear of being unseen, she finally confessed, her voice rising above the whispers. I want to embrace the truth of who I am without worry. I wish to be visible, to share my light. As her words left her lips, she felt a sudden lightness, as if the weight of her fears started to dissolve into the sacred space around her. Others began to speak, sharing their own burdens. Each confession rolled out like waves upon a shore, repeated, yet endlessly refreshing. I release my need for control, shouted a man, and I let go of my fear of judgment, called another. With each proclamation, the atmosphere surged with energy, thick and vibrant. The collective courage created ripples of healing, mingling like threads coming together to form a beautiful tapestry. The figure raised her hands, and the air vibrated with a high-frequency hum that seemed to envelop them all. In this moment, she continued, her voice a soothing melody, we claim the power to transform our shadows into light. Each fear shared serves as a stepping stone, propelling you forward into divine grace. A beam of light spilled through the cracks in the clouded sky above, bathing them in a warm embrace that seemed to affirm their collective efforts. Sarah felt herself smiling, her soul dancing within. The validation of shared struggles turned into triumph stirred something within her, a realization that this journey was not hers alone. They were all connected, their individual struggles woven into a collective fabric of divine purpose. Now, my beloveds, we stand upon the threshold, the figure exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with divine insight. Look to the horizon, to the unknown that awaits you. Feel the pull of promise, the call of your heart to step into the light. Someone from the back shouted, what will we find there? The figure paused for a moment and looked to the heavens again before responding. What you seek is already within. It is the essence of your spirit. Trust your journey, for it shall guide you to revelations beyond any fear. As murmurs of awe filled the air, a shift occurred. The winds outside intensified, as though responding to their awakening. Each villager felt a spark ignite within, a fierce determination to step beyond the familiar into the realm of the miraculous. Sarah's heart swelled with a swell of hope. What awaited them? What divine shifts were about to unfold? And as the figure beckoned them closer once again, she knew deep down that the true test was just beginning, entwined with the mysteries of faith. Would they be willing to embrace their shadows fully, allowing them to transform into guiding light? The path stretched out before them, laden with potential. The sacred dance of transformation was poised to commence. What revelations awaited them on the other side? As the last echoes of the figure's words settled among them, a newfound stillness enveloped the villagers. They stood, feeling the stirring energy pulsing through the warm air. It was as if they had entered a sacred current, alive and vibrant, gently coaxing them to open their hearts wider than ever before. Sarah felt an insatiable pull toward the unknown. Each gaze around her mirrored her own feelings, anticipation mixed with a tinge of apprehension. Yet, their shared courage lit a path, inviting them to step forward together. "Take a moment," the figure urged, her voice flowing like a gentle stream. "Feel your hearts. Sense the vibrations of your truth, the whispers that invite you into a dance of divine creation." With her words drifting through the air, the villagers closed their eyes, letting their breaths deepen and settle. The rhythmic sound of their inhalations became a collective heartbeat, thrumming with life and possibility. Sarah's chest rose and fell with purpose, her spirit soaring as she interlocked her hand with that of the villager beside her, feeling warmth and strength shared between them. "Now, together, let us guide our fears into the light," the figure urged, stepping back to allow the energy to gather. Imagine each fear as a feather drifting overhead, ready to be released into the expansive sky. On the count of 3, we will let them go, and with it, we will call on the light of transformation. One, Sarah could almost see her fears, little birds wanting to flee, wanting to burst forth into the sky. Point 2, the villagers began to sway, feeling the current between them, a sacred bond knit from honesty and vulnerability. Point 3, with unified breath, they stretched their arms toward the heavens, sending their invisible burdens aloft. She felt the resistance within her slip away, replaced by the freedom of release. Laughter mingled with joyous cries as they watched their fears soar into the vastness, touched momentarily by the sun's bright rays. "Feel that?" the figure asked, a glowing smile spreading across her face. "The light that dances upon the horizon is not merely distant. It is within each of you, waiting to be manifested." Hearts thumped with renewed courage as they experienced the subtle shift within their souls. Someone shouted, "We are not bound." Each proclamation echoed through the gathering, ringing with divine clarity, a shared enlightenment awakening within. "Every word spoken today brings forth the power to manifest change," the figure called out. "With each step you take, let love guide you into expansion, allowing yourself to be a beacon for others who still wander in darkness." Sarah opened her eyes, and there, in the distance, before the gathering of villagers, stood the horizon, a beautiful, vivid canvas painting the sky in shades of gold, pink, and orange. It felt alive, an invitation bursting with divine potential. "Now, my beloveds," the figure continued, her voice rising in passion, "as the sun rises, so too shall your spirits ascend. Embrace the movements of sacred transformation." Villagers began to sway harmoniously, embracing a rhythm that felt both instinctual and sacred. It was a dance of surrender and empowerment, a heartfelt acknowledgement of the journey they were stepping into. Each movement spoke of the trust ignited within, spurring them onward. As joy filled the air, Sarah marveled at the sight. Tears of gratitude pricked at the corners of her eyes. This was not just a transformation for her alone. This was sacred community thriving beneath the warmth of divine embrace. "Will you carry this light into your own lives?" the figure asked. "Will you shine brightly for others to find their way?" In that moment, the villagers raised their heads high, defiantly facing the dawn. The air thrummed with excitement as whisperings of hope hung heavy around them. But in the depths of Sarah's heart, an unquenchable question lingered. What awaited them when the sun fully graced the world? Would they be ready for what came next? The rising day shimmered with promise, yet Sarah's spirit could not quell a sense of waiting. A deeper revelation felt just on the cusp of awareness, shrouded in the mystery of faith. And so, with hearts ignited by divine light, they prepared to explore the horizons of their souls. What new truths would become unveiled amidst their journey? The sun climbed higher, casting an ethereal glow that bathed the villagers in warmth. Each face reflected a tapestry of emotions: hope, joy, wonder as they stood united in their newfound understanding. Sarah swayed gently with the crowd, letting the rhythm wash over her. With every pulse of the music, she could feel the air thicken with anticipation. Something monumental was brewing within them. "Together, we shall seek the mountains of our souls," the figure announced, her voice steady and full of grace. The path is not always clear, but your faith will light the way. We will journey toward deeper truths and embrace the whispers of the divine. As the opening call resonated, Sarah could sense a shift again, as if the earth itself took a deep collective breath. She felt the gentle squeeze of her neighbor's hand, a subtle reminder that the journey they were about to embark upon was not hers alone. Imagine your innermost desires, the figure continued, those sacred dreams you have kept hidden. Each longing is a seed, and we shall plant them today, in the fertile soil of our community. At this, the villagers began to form a circle, hands interlinked and hearts aligned. In the heart of the circle, the figure produced a small basket, made of woven branches and twinkling with the morning dew. Place your dreams within this sacred vessel, and with them, may we invoke the blessings of transformation. One by one, villagers stepped forward, offering their dreams. Each whisper set free felt like a gentle breeze, lifting the weight of unspoken hopes. Sarah listened intently, her heart racing as she waited for her turn. A voice piped up, "I dream of hope for my family." Another chimed, "I long for courage to share my gifts." Each declaration carved deeper connections, knitting their souls tighter together in a colorful pattern of shared aspiration. Finally, it was Sarah's turn. She stepped forward, breathing deeply, feeling the weight of a million thoughts swirling in her mind. "I dream of understanding. Understanding of my purpose and clarity in my journey," she whispered, her voice brave yet trembling. As she released her words, it felt as if liberation poured forth from her heart, unfurling her truth into the universe. "Now, my beloveds, we shall offer these dreams to the divine," the figure said, lifting her arms toward the sky. "On the count of 3, let us release them anew, sending them aloft to bring forth the miracles waiting for us." One, the anticipation gripped Sarah's heart like a warm hug. Her gaze fixed on the basket now overflowing with shimmering threads of intention. Point 2, the villagers began to hum, a harmonic lull that vibrated through the air, wrapping each hope in a cocoon of unity. Point 3, with a joyful release, they raised their hands high, letting the dreams soar like doves into the open sky. Gasps of wonder filled the air as they watched their aspirations intertwine against the backdrop of blue, twinkling like stars set free from their earthly bonds. "Do you feel the shift?" the figure called out, a radiant smile illuminating her features. "These desires are not just wishes, they are prayers. Prayers that reverberate in the fabric of existence. They are alive." The revelation ignited a holy fire in the hearts of the villagers. Joyful shouts filled the space, and in that moment, Sarah felt something within her awakening, unfurling like petals in the sunlight. Every soul around her shimmered with divine potential, and the air thickened with an overwhelming sense of love and support. As laughter erupted and a dance spontaneously ignited, Sarah closed her eyes, completely enveloped in the moment. This beautiful community was not just a gathering. They were a living testament to faith in action. Together, they were forging a path to the miraculous, but a lingering question echoed deep within her heart, a tender reminder that the journey was just beginning. What would it take to nurture those dreams? In the glimmer of divine light now surrounding them, Sarah wondered what miracles awaited next. Would they have the courage to pursue the revelations that lay ahead? In the heart of the sanctuary, as sunlight streamed through the windows, the villagers felt a profound awakening. Hope ignited not just in their minds, but deep within their souls. The ethereal figure radiated joy, her presence echoing their yearning for transformation. "Together, you shall witness the manifestation of divine healing," she declared, her voice smooth like honey. As she spoke, Sarah sensed a fiery determination among them, a collective heartbeat reverberating through their bones, urging them to claim their newfound purpose. The figure smiled, urging them forward. "Close your eyes and picture healing embracing each of you. Visualize the burdens lifted, the losses transformed into victories." "What do you see?" Sarah envisioned the faces of her loved one's little Tom, free and joyful, bouncing through fields of wildflowers. She could feel the warmth of their laughter, the vibrant energy radiating from every smile. In that moment, she knew they were on the brink of divine revelation. "Feel it," the figure urged. "Let the energy flow through you." With each beat of her heart, they responded, chanting in unison. The air vibrated with their words, a melody of intent, a rhythm of belief. As they sang, a golden light enveloped them, swirling with every fervent prayer. The villagers clasped hands tightly, their spirits entwined, merging into a single powerful force. It was a reflection of faith, a tapestry of hope brighter than the sun. Suddenly, the altar burst into resplendent light, illuminating the entire sanctuary. There stood Saint Agnes in all her glory, her presence imbued with love and grace. Light streamed from her outstretched hands, cascading over the villagers, lifting their burdens with gentle, divine hands. Sarah felt it, the warmth washing over her, filling her heart, igniting her spirit with light. Your faith has opened the door, Saint Agnes proclaimed with a voice that resonated deep within them. Every prayer, every chant, every shared dream is an act of creation. Healing has begun. With those words, a wave of tranquility engulfed the villagers. Gasps of wonder filled the air as they witnessed small miracles. A hunched back straightened, laughter replaced tears, and in the corner, little Tom, buoyed by faith, began to dance. Joy erupted, echoing against the stone walls. Sarah's heart swelled, tears cascading down her cheeks. They were witnesses to something far beyond healing. They were part of a miracle, a spiritual rebirth that transcended their individual struggles. From this moment, let every step be guided by love, Saint Agnes instructed, her smile radiant. Go forth and share your light with the world. As she spoke, Sarah felt an unbreakable bond form amongst them. Each villager was now a beacon of hope, empowered to shine bright and chase away darkness. But then, a hush fell over the congregation. An understanding settled among the villagers. This miracle was not the end, it was a beginning. They would face challenges, but now, they possessed the strength born from faith and unity. Together, we are resilient. Someone cried out, with a chorus of amen. Sweeping through the air, they resolved to support one another beyond this sanctuary. They would share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, ensuring no one would ever feel alone. And with one final chorus, they raised their hands, feeling the divine energy intertwining their dreams, allowing them to flow into the world. They were not merely villagers seeking healing. They were warriors of faith, ready to stand together against any storm that approached. The sanctuary glowed, filling the space with a sense of peace. As Sarah looked around at her neighbors, she knew they would carry this moment in their hearts forever. Let us walk forward, nurtured by love, she declared, pulling them together for the final prayer, anticipating a life transformed. As the villagers stepped outside into the radiant warmth of the sun, Sarah smiled, knowing their journey had only just begun. They were a community reborn, a divine family, spreading light in every shadow they encountered, leaving their imprint on the tapestry of life itself. And at that moment, they understood the most magnificent truth. Healing isn't a destination, but a journey. Together, they would manifest miracles. Now, dear friends, this is your divine call to action. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will further ignite your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, for your support is a beacon that guides others to our message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending. Your words can inspire hearts. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful manifestation of faith. Don't wait even one more second. The world needs your light.